How y'all doing today? This Big Swoll, and I've been getting a lot of requests to start doing my talk radio show again. I have a friend of mine that I want to invite to come on here. He's going to join us, and I just sent him a request. Probably one of the smartest men I've ever met. I'm not bullshitting. This guy can tell you every wrestler, everything they ever did. And like I said, I just sent him a request. And I worked in the industry, and this guy knows 10 times as much as I ever know about wrestling. And I sent him a request. I hope he times in. Let's see. I don't know how to do this, but I'm gonna try. Okay, let's try again. Um, Hold on. I'm trying to invite him, but let's see. I hope I'm doing this right. Let's see what it does.
Whoa.
What's going on, man?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
Man, look, I've been bragging about you to people, man. Every time I do an interview, I tell people, I say, man, y'all don't know about wrestling. I said, I got a friend of mine. He tell you what size drawers the wrestlers wear. He knows wrestling so much.
All right, that's cool.
Man,
All right, that's cool.
but seriously, man, I've been doing some interviews and talking to people, and I've had a few people contact me. I did a big interview last week with a podcast, and I just told them the truth. They asked me what did I think about Andre the Giant and what I think about Hulk Hogan, and I basically told them I didn't like them, and it was like, why? I said because they was both racist. You know, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know about the time in Japan, Bad News Brown was gonna kick Andre the Giant's ass for
Yeah.
making nigger jokes. You know.
Well, you got to understand, I follow podcasts all the time.
Mm-hmm.
For those who out there don't know me, my name is Ramon. I'm an old friend of Swoll's from the gym. I've been watching. I'm 48 years old now. Been watching since I was 5, 6 years old,
And knows
and ain't too
everything.
much as a fan. As a fan, no, that's what they call smart marks. I don't want to seem like that, but like I don't know the business. I just know the stories and backlines
Right.
and the history of the game.
Right.
So I consider myself a true. I love foot wrestling more than I did football
Right.
because football nowadays is ain't like the old hard hit days when you played
You know.
and before your day.
Yeah.
But we're not gonna talk about that. But I know Andre. I didn't know too much about Hogan. I heard stories other than what came out about his daughter when he made that little comment.
Mm.
But I knew Andre was
Yeah.
racist. Andre, when he did, I know you about to talk about Bad News Brown when he had him in Japan
Right.
or London, and Bad News threatened him on the
On tour
bus
bus.
and on the tour bus
Yeah.
and said he was gonna kill. He told the driver pull
Pull
over, and
over. That's right.
everybody was shocked because nobody ever. Now I'm gonna tell you something about Andre. Yeah, he was a bad man. He was big and all that. I'll tell you this. You may not know this. That's not the first time Andre got threatened by somebody. Well, maybe about a black
Right.
dude,
Right.
but all the race was gonna whip his
Yeah.
ass. And believe it or not, what was his name? Black Jack Mulligan
Mm.
almost got into it. Barry Windham's dad,
Right.
you know Black Jack with the car,
Right.
the Wyndham clan.
Mm.
He was about to whip Andre's ass. I follow these stories, dude.
Mm.
Like Jim Cornette's
Mm.
podcast. I follow Stone Cold's is all
Mm.
right. But I like Jim Ross's. I like the podcasts that tell the backstories that us fans like myself never knew.
Right.
See, that's why I thought you might have knew Bruiser Brody,
No,
because
he was dead.
Frank Goodish kept,
He was dead.
man. And you know what? Them bastards still walking around free. I had a lot of respect for. I never watched Carlos Colon. I always got the magazines. But that's some bitch ass. Excuse my language. But that's some bitch ass shit.
And guess what?
And that man brought you money.
They
right.
gutted him like a pig. This, you know, because I talked to some guys.
I praise Tony Adams.
You know, I was talking.
I praise Tony.
You know, and it's so funny, you know, because I was telling a friend on a podcast. I said, let me tell you something. And I said, I've talked to many old school wrestlers, you know, and I asked them, who is one person that you would not fight in a real street fight? And you know what name kept coming up? Bad News Brown. Bad News Brown. Bad News Brown. They say, Randy, you don't know, that dude's the first American ever to win a gold medal in judo. And I didn't know he's
in judo.
They say he was a badass guy in judo. They say he was the best.
I'm gonna tell you the year too. You can look it up, YouTube it. 1976, because I researched it. He was in 1976. I think he got the bronze medal or something like that in judo.
First medal ever.
And he was the Olympic. Huh?
He won the first medal ever for Americans in judo.
Exactly right, he did. And he was he really was one of the legit badasses in wrestling. See, I'm gonna tell you something. There has a lot of wrestlers, and I'm gonna say names because I'm a fan. I don't give a damn. You remember? I know you know. You remember ECW with Paul Heyman's ECW.
Right.
Everybody thought Taz was tough. Taz wasn't tough. RVD was tougher than him.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, JBL. Oh my bad. Hold on. Like JBL, they thought that he was tough. JBL ain't tough.
Well, you know,
JBL, he might be, you know, like Joey Styles.
You know, let me
slap you and knock you out.
Let me tell you a story. And this is the honest, true story that I've never shared with many people. But I started wrestling in 1992 when I was playing in Canadian football, and I wrestled in New Japan. And my first wrestling match ever was with the OW. I did. Matter of fact, I did the last show ever in the AWA, the last taping ever in Minnesota. It was me and Frank Anderson, with Vern Gagne. I did the last show ever for AWA, and
wow,
you know, one thing, the person who got me into wrestling is a guy by the name of Big Cat Ernie Ladd. And Big Cat,
legend.
Big Cat told me one day, don't ever become a jobber. Don't ever become a jobber. I said, okay, I won't.
Right.
So when I finished wrestling school, me and Frank Anderson, we're going to, Mexico, Arizona, just wrestling independent. So, we got called up AWA. It so happened that that's when it was going out of business with Vern Gagne. So I got a phone call from New Japan and said, look, we got a guy. We want to get over here, and we want you to wrestle him, and we want you to do a mixed martial show. Well, the guy's name is Hashimoto, and everybody know Hashimoto, if you know, because his son is Hashimoto Jr. And so,
Hashimoto Jr.
And I lost the match the second round to him. It was a jobber. So then I did Frank Anderson, a job for Anderson. Then one day I get a phone call from the Japanese promoter. I never forget. He said, Randy, we're going to fly you back to Japan, but can you take an ass whipping for 20 minutes straight? I said, what you mean an ass whipping? He said, we want you to fight Big Van Vader. And Vader's going to come in the ring and just beat the dog shit out of you. Now, you got to remember, me and Leon went to the same wrestling school. With, we know each other from the same wrestling school, and he used to come back. And for people who don't know, Leon put a lot of people in the hospital in New Japan. A lot. Every week somebody was going into the hospital because of Leon. And I told a guy, I told a guy, I said, what you mean can I take an ass whipping? What's the storyline? He said, there is none. He's going to beat the shit out of you. I said, no, I won't do it. He said, you'll never wrestle again in New Japan. In Japan, I told him, I don't give a fuck. I'm not letting nobody beat the dog shit out of me. I said, man, in the black neighborhood, don't forget, we got to go back to the barbershop, and shit. I said, man, look, at least let me give a fight. And they didn't want to let me give a fight, and they told me I wasn't gonna wrestle anymore in Japan, so I went back to play Canadian football.
But see, think about it. What they understand about you, Swoll, how with your background and how strong you were. Leon, God bless his soul, Big Beta, 450 pounds, offensive lineman, University of Colorado. Then he played for the Rams, and he was a strong man, just like you. But dog, you could have knocked him clean out with one shot.
I'd have wore his fucking knees out. I'd have beat the shit out of him. I told Leon one day, I said, man, I'm gonna tell you something. I'm not gonna fight you. I told Leon, I'll shoot you in your knee, then beat the shit out of you while you laying on the ground. And he started laughing, but I was serious.
Right.
I was serious. I was really serious. I said, I'm not letting you whip my ass for no 20 minutes.
Now, with Bad News Brown, he used to tell people, I'm not in here for titles and all that. This is easy money.
Easy money.
Do you know about the story he did about he had to whip Owen Hart's ass in the back?
No, I never heard of that.
Because the late great Owen Hart, I got to give him, wrestlers, I give their respect when the ones that passed away. Even Benoit, but we'll talk about that later. But Owen Hart, what happened was, I think we won a match or something, and he was celebrating, and it was one thing or another. But Brown told him, "Look, don't do that. That makes me look bad, or something or another." And Owen Hart kept doing it. He caught his ass coming through the curtain, and he was in his ass. The Ultimate Warrior. This is a funny one. He said that, in wrestling, when they say they blow you up, they gas you. You run out of breath. Right, they gas you, they blow you up. He said that fool came to the ring one time, doing his shtick, running to the ring, shaking the ropes. Because I was a big fan at one time. I didn't know no better. But Bad News said, okay, he got him in the ring, and he said he blew him up. He said the man was in the back. When he went in the back, he was all on the ground gasping. And he said, man, Jim, you all right? You all right? Yeah, I'm all right. And, man, you got to check his podcast. It's an old one with Bad News Brown. He tell it like it is, dude.
You know what really makes me mad? And this makes me mad. And I did some research on this. I look at people like Thunderbolt Patterson, Pochop Cash, Ray Candy, all these great black athletes, and they wanted to be jobbers. I still remember watching WWE, and they had people whipping Pochop Cash ass. I'm like, man, that ain't right. That's not right. And I mean, come on.
But in the same, go ahead.
It just wasn't right that they took these guys that we idolized, like this, Junkyard Dog. He wasn't popular up north. He was popular down south. Louisiana, Florida, Mississippi.
Mid-South.
He was very popular. But up north, they didn't push him like that. Up north.
If you remember, I don't know if you know, and I know his story a little bit. When he got started, he started up there with Stu Hart.
In Canada.
The old Stu Hart.
In Canada.
The dungeon.
Yeah.
And he was a heel. Because he feuded with Jake the Snake Roberts when Roberts was getting when they both was getting in around the same time. Right. And Sylvester Ritter, he wasn't even known as Junkyard Dog. He was such and such Ritter, but his real name is Sylvester Ritter. And I forgot he wore a little white little hat, and he was very cocky. He was what they call a dirty wrestler. Back in the old school.
Right.
Then the story I heard, Cowboy Bill Watson.
Well, we were talking about until he comes back on.
Wrestling career.
Right. Go ahead. I'm listening. Go ahead.
And he wasn't no catch as catch can wrestler, but he had a connection with the fans because he was real.
Right. Correct.
I'm gonna tell you this. let me tell you this one story. You're gonna laugh, but this is my part of my childhood. The very first wrestler when I first watched wrestling that I loved, there was two wrestlers. One was him, no, three. He was first. Tommy Wildfire Rich and Dusty Rhodes was my favorites growing up as a child. The first person I ever hated, I didn't really hate Ric Flair until later. We'll talk about that bastard later too. But the first person I hated was Michael Hayes. The storyline where he blinded the dog, and the dog couldn't see his daughter.
Right, yeah.
I was a kid, man, that traumatized me as a kid. Not knowing that, not knowing the work is, but Georgia Championship Wrestling.
Yeah, I remember that.
Michael Hayes with a passion.
I remember that. I remember, and he used to come out with a Confederate flag too.
He did, and he played this gimmick, but no, the boys from Pensacola, Florida. But that's what sold him. Buddy Roberts, Terry Gordy, who also was a big fan of Terry Gordy's work. Was Bad Street USA. That was the gimmick. That's what worked.
Correct.
But Michael Hayes is a Florida boy from Pensacola. I know you know that probably already, but
yeah, I was a big fan because the Freebirds is one of the probably the biggest acts of all time in the wrestling. If you ask me, the Freebirds
before the Shield, before the Horsemen, before even the Road Warriors,
it was the Freebirds.
I know you know about Hawk and Allen.
Right.
Before the Steiners, before all of them. Even before the Von Erichs, the Freebirds was the first three-man team and a significant team what they called the Freebird rule. Any two of the three members could hold the tag belts. I remember that. This is when Michael Hayes had a clean face, had old baby face. That was back in the 70s. I remember that. He was young in the business, a younger Buddy Jack Roberts, and the big heater, Terry Gordy. And I was amazed how Terry Gordy moved in the ring smooth for a big man.
Right.
But yeah, they were my favorites. I loved them. I just didn't love them.
Really like the game. It's just like, and let me tell you, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, what I'm about to say. I'm sitting here talking to you today because I got out the wrestling business. People don't know there's so many wrestlers that dying young. They're dying from suicide. They're dying from heart attacks. They're dying. And the man, I seen a picture of Kurt Angle the other day that shocked the shit out of me. He looks like he's about to die, Kurt Angle. He looks terrible.
I met Kurt Angle.
He looks, man, you see how small he is? He looks terrible.
Dude, when I met him like almost 10 years ago, he was doing a movie by the Senior Theater. Him, what's that guy from The Best Man? Tay Diggs, and the dude who played Superman Returns, Brandon Root. And they had a little werewolf. He played a werewolf or whatever. Me and Kurt Angle talked for like about 15, 20 minutes. And down to earth, real cool. We talked about UFC back when you had Chuck Liddell and Rampage Jackson, and we were just talking. And he was talking about how the wrestling business. I said, man, what makes you keep going? I said, man, with the neck surgeries and everything. A lot of these guys, bro, they love the business. I don't know what it is.
It's the money. It's the money.
Love the money.
They love the money and they like the fame. Because there's a lot of these guys, when they get out the business, man, they go crazy because they don't know anything else. A lot of these guys are wrestlers, and that's all they know how to do is wrestle. They don't have no business savage. They don't know about starting businesses or companies. They don't have, you look at your boy from what's his name? Who used to wrestle with the Undertaker, his brother or cousin, what does he call himself?
Kane.
Now that's very few you find a man that's educated like that, and that's wrestling.
And he's a mayor.
He's a mayor.
He's a mayor.
He's a very smart.
Because they said he was always smart, and they said Kane was the smartest guy back there in the locker room, but he took his now look at him now with Knoxville, Tennessee, or
Right.
something like
Somewhere
that.
in Tennessee.
He's in office.
Mm. You know,
I mean, you.
it's very rare because but because right now, people think that this is something that a lot of people don't know. When we came out the No Limit Soldiers, we were hated. We were turned into the heels, and the Red Texas Rednecks was turned into the baby faces. Now,
Exactly, I saw that.
Now you know what's so funny? This is the funny thing. People hated the No Limit Soldiers because it was hip hop at WCW.
Yeah.
The same time, what's his name? John Cena seen us on TV, and he started doing the hip hop thing, and people fell in love with him.
But you know what?
He started dressing like us.
But you know
he started acting like us and everything. And people hated us, but they like they like the white guy doing hip hop. I never understood that.
Everybody who had that gimmick, and God bless his soul because he passed away recently, the original OG New Jack. Tell everybody that's watching the podcast and for future wrestling where that gimmick originated from.
Which one? Which gimmick?
The No Limit Soldiers, the New Jacks, John Cena.
Well, I say, let me tell you something right now. This is something that somebody don't know. When I joined WCW, I'm sitting at the table with Kevin Nash, what's Macho Man Randy Savage, and Dusty Rhodes. And they asked me, they say, Randy, who do you want to be part of the No Limit Soldiers? Who you think of the very first name I asked for? New Jack. And they turned me down. And I say, what? They say he's too much liable responsibility. That's what you mean.
Because of what he did Nick Goulas and ECW.
Right. He said, Randy, you can't have New Jack. I said, hold on. You say I can have anybody I want. And when I give you a name of person I want, you tell me no. And that's what I said, look, we got somebody that you could work with. I say, who? His name is, we call him BA, Brad Armstrong. We'll give you Brad Armstrong and Chase to join the team. And I'm like, well, cool. Chase Tatum, and I mean, I was already an Armstrong fan from his daddy,
Yeah, from his dad, yeah.
So I was like,
Bullet Bob.
So I was like, oh, sure, And that, I mean.
I grew up watching Brad.
And let me tell you something.
Brad was the first son to get.
New Jack did an interview when he went to Kevin Nash. I don't know if you heard this, but he told Kevin Nash came and told him,
I already know.
Hey man, how you doing? And New Jack said, man, get the fuck out my face. He's like, huh? He said, man, I don't fucking play with you. Yeah. Because he said, when Master P wanted me, you told him no.
You turned me down. Yep. That's when he was booking.
Yeah.
That's when Kevin Nash was taking over the book.
Yeah, and I mean,
he said the way New Jack said it was, he said no. New Jack's a problem.
It's a problem, yeah.
What happened was New Jack said, I watch it all the time. New Jack said, I came up and gave you a hug behind. He said, hey, buddy, haven't seen you in a long time. He said, hey, we never met.
That's what he said in the interview.
Hey, but you want to talk that big boy shit behind my back, be a man and tell me what you said face to face. He said, if I had heat with you, he said, I could have came and knocked you in your head.
Right.
Right. New Jack was real.
He was.
He didn't give a damn about nothing.
I trained with him. I trained with him a few times in Georgia. I trained, and I mean,
he is just as crazy as he is in real.
Yeah, the motherfucker was loaded all the time.
He wanted to be here.
He was loaded. I mean,
okay.
He lived that life. He just loved drugs. And he loved it. And I got
big rhymes.
Okay, since we on here, and this is something somebody asked me, and you know this story.
What's
this has nothing to do with wrestling. I was talking a couple of months ago, and somebody brought up the Hulk, okay? And they say, man, did you see that dude from New Orleans? Man, he's strong as a motherfucker. They call him the Hulk. This dude is big. I said, man, let me tell you a story. I said,
Baby Hulk.
I ran that motherfucker out the gym one day. They was like, what?
You did?
I said, you see that shit he doing, pausing and dancing and shit? I said, where you think he got that shit from? He was like, who? I say, ask anybody ever seen me work out 20 years ago who was doing that pause and dancing shit? I said, me. And they was like, oh, man, you don't know that dude. I say, ask anybody who worked at Frontier on the West Bank, and they knew us, you know. And I said, I told him, I don't, you know, I wish to do the best of luck, but he taking some serious shit. That boy is humongous. He's huge.
He gonna kill
He's gonna
himself.
kill himself.
He gonna kill
You
himself.
know, and,
He gonna kill himself.
and everybody.
You look at all those guys. I'm
Go ahead,
sorry.
no.
You look at all those guys in history on that juice. You start with superstar Billy Graham. You see he on crutches. He's still living, but he got met. You see Don Morocco. I mean, you look at him. Look at Hulk Hogan, decrepit ass.
Yep.
Didn't want to deny it, talking about he didn't use it. Everybody knew he was on the juice. One thing I respect about Randy Savage, and I really respect a lot of things, because when he died, I cried. I ain't gonna lie. I'm gonna tell you like a man. Because I was one wrestler, one of the few wrestlers I really wanted to meet.
Right.
He told people, he went on Arsenio. Yeah, I did it. They gave me a case of PMS. I said, you stupid ass. But he did it. He admitted he did it. John Cena, come on. Look at your fingers.
Oh, everybody.
2 of my fingers equal his finger. I shook his hand many times.
He's on it.
I worked with John Cena on a movie set.
He done it. He does.
You don't take that shit? If you don't take that shit, I'm light skinned like a mother. Come on.
But, you know, it was back in the day.
Your business is your business.
You know, back in the day, you know, I mean, that was a thing. You know, I mean, and, you know, because you got to realize, you know, when you're a black wrestler and you go to wrestling school, you got to work harder, you got to train harder, you got to study harder. Because, you know, because I don't care nobody say, I still say to this day, the wrestling business is one of the most prejudiced businesses I've ever been in my life. You know, that's just my opinion for what I've seen.
They just don't talk about it.
And this,
they just don't talk.
Just like you know, it's street. Okay, Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, and
all the race.
No, I'm going somewhere else with it. Ric Flair and
I know you're talking about. I know you're talking
about. Booker T. Those are 3 people. If I never meet the motherfuckers again, I'm happy. Seriously, I'm not bullshitting you.
And guess what? People that's listening to this, you know they want to know now. Hogan and Flair, we know. It's amazing. But let me get on. Give me a second. You know how amazing how the hip hop community has embraced Ric Flair?
Yeah.
And they really don't know.
Yeah. He was against the No Limit Soldiers joining WCW. He was against it.
And not just that. Tell them the story about the little black fan that wanted the autograph from him. Tell that story.
Yeah, look, we was going.
Tell that story.
We was going out, and I'm leaving the arena, go to another wrestling show. This little black boy asked Ric Flair for his autograph. And Ric Flair told him no. You know, and I remember telling one of the other guys, he wasn't signing the little nigga's autograph. And that's what I heard with my own eyes. But I heard it myself because I remember I was a big time Ric Flair fan until I met him in person.
Me too.
When I met him in person, I just liked him. And just like, you got to think about this. We with WCW, and let me address this before we go any further. The thing about Master P, me, and the whole soldiers, the front, and Eric Bischoff, in the back is not true. We didn't have no guns. We didn't surround him.
I know that.
No, that's bullshit.
I know that.
I'm like, who?
And Eric said that too. Eric went on the podcast and said that. He said that was bullshit.
Yeah. And you know one thing? I listened to his podcast one time because somebody sent it to me, and he said the nicest thing. Because somebody asked him, how was Big Swoll? He said Big Swoll was the nicest person you ever gonna meet. He said I like to talk to Big Swoll, see how he doing, and I respect that. I respect that because I really was professional. See, a lot of people don't realize that. I've told a story recently about how Master P he stopped showing up for shows. He told everybody he got paid for one-time performance. No, that wasn't true. He just stopped showing up because he was mad at me. He called himself paying me back, because when I was in Georgia and a week before Basket at the Beach, I got a phone call from Dusty Rhodes, and Dusty Rhodes was telling me, he said, Randy, look, we got a problem. You turn into a heel. And the West Texas rednecks, they turn into the babies. He said, what we going to do? the redneck's gonna jump you, beat the dog shit out you. You know, you're gonna come back. Excuse me, at bass at the beach and win bass at the beach. I said, cool. So I did that, and I get back home. I go to the bank, and our banker say, Randy, somebody wants to talk to you. Who the fuck calling me at Bank One? You know, who the fuck? Somebody calling. So I picked up the phone, and this person, motherfucker, who the fuck told you to lose? Motherfucker, you fucking embarrassed me. Let me tell you one motherfucking thing. We know limit soldiers, and we don't lose, and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, nigga, you do know this is fake, right? I'm like, you don't know there's a storyline to this shit. You know what? Since,
Right.
you know, since she won't do this fucking shit, do it your motherfucking self. Hung up the phone, and him and I haven't spoken since.
But he'd be all right.
We haven't spoken since.
You made your money. You did your thing. Fuck him.
And
I mean,
no,
I don't know.
No, because I mean,
I don't know the parameters of the language, but you know.
no, because I mean, I've had 2 heart attacks. You know, I broke my neck, and everybody think, you know, oh, Master P hasn't called. Hey, dog, your family needs milk. Hey, dog, your family needs water or anything. Never, you know, I don't consider, you know, we okay, but I don't consider him, you know, I work for the guy, but I don't consider him no friend, you know. I mean,
No.
cause we went to,
because friends don't do shit like that.
No, and,
Friends have your back. Friends,
and we went to college together because something happened, and this somebody told me this, that he was doing a press conference, I think in Denver or somewhere, and somebody asked him where was Big Swoll, and he talked about, oh, Big Swoll never worked for me. They're like, what? Oh, he never worked for me. And I'm like, I got no time for this bullshit, man. You know, it's just a bunch of bullshit, you know, man. But, you know.
But you know what, though? What I enjoyed, I guess, you know, when I first met you, like I said, you know, people don't understand. When you in the gym, when Swoll was in the gym at the time when I know you let him work out, you know, you speak to him in between, whatever. But, you know, and I knew who he was. And he just, you know, he always tell the story. He looked at me. I say, I ain't about to get my ass whipped, so I was going to speak. And I keep on moving. And, you know, we just in the time, we talked and stuff and the different stories. But, man, you got to tell a story about one of the true greats of the ring and was a nice guy, even though he played games and joke. You got to talk about Mr. Perk.
Oh, Mr.
One of my all-time favorites, too.
Man, Mr.
Kurt Hennig, bro.
Kurt Hennig, when I told Pete that I can get us into WCW, because
right.
I called Brad Riggins. I called Brad. I said, Brad, this is Randy. Look, man, you know, they talking about this hootie hoo and all this kind of shit. And, you know, I work for Master P. Can you get us in? He said, let me call Kurt. So he called Kurt on a 3-way, and we ran by Kurt, and Kurt's like, fucking right, man, let's do this shit, you know? And so Kurt Hennig is my top 5 wrestlers all time. He was so nice, you know? He was funny. I mean, he was hilarious, and he joked all the time. All the time.
Yes.
Know? And he was
when they call him River backstage, yeah.
And you see, people realize him and Rick Rude was best friends. Ravel and Rick Rude.
They went to school together. You know, Robbinsdale, Minnesota.
Yeah. And see, because I went to wrestling school in Plymouth, Minnesota, and they all trained under Brad, you know, because Brad was under Vern Gagne at first, you know.
But you got to think about all those great wrestlers from Minnesota, from Gagne, Brad Riggins, Kurt Hennig,
the Road Warriors,
Rick Rude. Well, you took it right out of my mouth. Justin the Body Ventura,
the Demolition Team,
and the
Demolition.
And you know who I got to throw in there? The Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar, my boy.
Yeah.
You know I love me some Brock Lesnar.
You know Brock Lesnar was
I love me some Brock.
Brock was the last person. Brock is the last person Brad Riggins ever trained.
I know.
He's the last person.
And he got love for him to this day.
Yeah.
You still got love, and Brock keep in touch with him to this day. And Brock, I understand where Brock's coming from, because people are so funny and finicky, and he kind of keeps to himself. But when you told me, if I'm not mistaken, when he wanted to train, he wanted you to train with him or spot him.
Yeah.
Remember you? Man, I'd say, bro, if you bring me along with you, I promise I will not embarrass you, bro. I don't spot people. To see Brock live?
I don't spot people. I don't spot anybody. You know,
I know you
I don't
don't.
spot
You
them.
didn't do me. When I was working with you, you never spotted me. I know. I know firsthand. If you can't get it where you get
now,
it.
let me tell you something. This is a true story about Jesse Ventura. When I was in wrestling school, he would come by and train with us and work with us and stuff. And one day Jesse came to the school. He was excited. He was like, "Man, I got the perfect gimmick for you." I said, "What?" "Man, you gonna make $1 million for the rest of your life with this gimmick. You gonna be known all over the world. I got a new name for you." I said, "What?" He said, "We're gonna call you Big Bad Buckwheat." I was like, "What?" "We're gonna call you Big Bad Buckwheat, and you gonna always go, here I
Well,
is."
I know you want to punch the piss out of his
I was
ass.
like, "Motherfucker, are you serious? Are you
He was serious.
Big Bad Buckwheat?" I'm like,
Jesse was serious.
man, I told Jesse, man, you get the fuck out my face, man. Come on, man. I told him in 5 more minutes, you could be using that Navy SEAL skills. You keep fucking with me, you
Yeah.
know? And,
But you know, what you said earlier your top 5 favorite wrestlers. Kurt Hennig was one. Who's the other four?
oh, easy. Kurt Hennig, um, Mr. Wrestler number 2,
What?
Pochop Cash,
Okay.
Pochop
Okay.
Cash, Ray Candy, and
The Candyman.
Mr. Kurt Patterson. And that's my top 5.
Who?
Patterson, Thunderbolt Patterson.
Patterson?
Yeah, Thunderbolt Patterson.
Thunderbolt.
That's my top 5. Oh no.
Me, I ain't gonna lie to you. I can't lie. I love I gotta throw Kurt Hennig in there.
Mm-hmm.
Macho Man Randy Savage.
Mm-hmm.
Junkyard Dog.
Mm-hmm.
I ain't gonna lie to you, because he was an updated version of Mick Foley in an athletic version. I love me some Bruiser
Okay.
Brody. I love Bruiser Brody. And the last but not least, Brock Lesnar.
Okay.
Because you know what I liked about Brock? They say what they want about him.
Mm-hmm.
I know Cornette and a lot of those guys talk about how he was in the business for the money.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
I was in the business for the money too.
This dude, you got a farm boy coming from South Dakota.
A cattle boy,
Went to University
a
of
dairy
Minnesota.
farmer.
Dairy farmer boy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he woke up in the morning milking the cows, the hay. He was a straight country boy.
Mm-hmm.
Went to school with Sheldon Benjamin, which is true, was roommates. Mm-hmm. And they got in the business together along with Randy Orton and John Cena, that class of 2002. Mm-hmm. This dude, athletically, and me and Kurt Hennig talked about it. I mean, Kurt Angle talked about him. Dog, he's so gifted.
Right.
And he came into the business, not just a powerhouse, he could mad wrestle with anybody. Right. How many guys at that time, and even now, then you go to the UFC and you become 10 times more dangerous than you was as a rookie.
Right.
The Beast Incarnate. Paul Heyman, which I love. I don't know how you feel about Paul Heyman. And next to Bobby the Brain Heenan, one of the greatest managers of all time. That's my opinion. I love me because of ECW and what he did for that. But he took Brock Lesnar from then and now, and man, look, he's become an attraction now in wrestling. When you see Brock, it's gonna be the main event.
Man, you know what's the best wrestling match I've seen in my life?
Go ahead. I'm gonna tell you
the best wrestling match I've ever seen. I was in Japan. In Japan touring and going to school in Japan, and I went to a wrestling match and I seen the Pegasus Kid and Two Cold Scorpio.
Scorpio and Chris Benoit. I
have never seen a wrestling match like that yet. And people don't realize before he was Chris Benoit, he was a Pegasus Kid. He wore a mask, a purple and silver mask, And me.
And he was Jushin Liger. Him and Jushin Liger made money in Japan.
And I mean, see, people slept on Two Cold Scorpio. That dude was bad, man.
Shit.
He was bad.
Who?
He can wrestle.
The 450 Splash. And guess what? Watch that podcast where he talk about how he got into it with Road Warrior Hulk. Hulk called him out his name because he was an ass kisser behind Ric Flair, and he called him that, and he called him a nigga on the bus, and he got off the bus, and then he said one time Hulk snuck him, didn't even knock him out. He said, "You supposed to be one of the bad road warriors." He said he never had a problem with Animal or Joe Laurinaitis, his real name. He had a problem. He had a problem with Hulk.
Well, Hulk was different.
And
Hulk used to fuck with them. What's that motorcycle gang? Hell's Angels and shit.
What the Hell's Angels?
He was kind of, he was kind of weird.
He was on them drugs and stuff. Like, him and Jake the Snake Rider were best friends because they used to smoke, drink, and did drugs and stuff. I ain't got no problem with Jake. I'm gonna tell you about Jake the Snake Rider. What I liked about him, not much this is wrestling. I was cool there. I love if I had a promo skills, give me the promo skills of Jake the Snake. Never raised his voice.
Now you knew.
He always talk to you.
You knew I want to always talk like, and people think I'm crazy. I always want Wayne Bloom.
Who?
Wayne Bloom. You ever heard of Wayne Bloom?
Yeah, it used to be with the
him and Mike Enos.
Wrecking Crew.
Yeah, the Wrecking Crew.
The Wrecking Crew in AWA.
Him and Mike Enos.
Oh, what people remember, the newer fans, the Beverly Brothers in WWE.
Right.
Yeah, I know Wayne Bloom.
Man, I know.
I know. I know. All I had to do was.
We went to the same, because he was trained under Brad Riggins too. And Brad used to tell us, you want to see how to talk? Watch Wayne. Wayne is a talker. And to this day, me and Wayne Bloom are still friends. To this day, we're still friends.
That's good, man. That's good. It's good when you got old friends in business that you're still cool with. I know, man, look. Hey, man, when did you... Oh, man, I'm about to say, did you ever know Kerry Von Erich?
Yeah,
I ever met him?
He went to the University of Houston. He ran track.
Man, that was one of my favorite wrestlers.
Yeah, he threw the shot.
I love me some Kerry.
He threw the shot put at the University of Houston. We went to the same university.
Wow.
But that whole family,
wow.
That whole family had demons. That whole family was just, every single one of them just had demons in it. I mean.
But Kevin's still alive, and he got raised two good sons.
Yeah.
I saw that.
Yeah. Let me tell you.
Did you ever?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. What you saying?
Do you ever watch the documentary, The Dark Side of the Ring?
Yes. Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Man, I love the screw job, Montreal with Bret Hart, which I think was a lot of bullshit. That showed you what kind of person Vince McMahon is. Another one that really showed you was the death of Owen Hart.
Right. Yeah.
You cold, sick son of a bitch.
Yeah, that was disrespectful.
You know you killed Owen.
Yeah. You
killed Owen. Bret won't say it. I'm just a fan. I'm just a lowly fan who've been watching the business, who've been watching since I was a kid. You killed that man because of what happened with Bret. Oh, you gonna embarrass and put me out there? All right.
Well, but I can't get
your little brother ain't gonna get away.
It's just it's sad. I got and
Go ahead.
Let me tell you my story about Junkyard Dog. I'm gonna tell you why he's not my top 5. And this is personal.
All right.
We did a show with the No Limit Soldiers in North Carolina. And it was in Charleston, North Carolina. And our concert was on a Saturday. We got down on Friday. And one of the guys said, man, look, we're going to the wrestling match, the independent wrestling match at this used car lot. I said, what? Yeah, they got a used car lot down the street and they have a wrestling match. Junkyard Dog gonna be there. I was like, JYD? He said, yeah. I was like, no, man, Junkyard Dog ain't doing no wrestling match at no used car lot. They said, man, Junkyard Dog is coming. So we get there, we got a No Limit medallion on, the guy let us in, they know about the concert, and we got backstage, and Junkyard Dog was back there, and man, I introduced myself to him, and he said, man, can I ask you for a favor? I said, what's up? Can I borrow $100 from you? I'm like, what?
Oh, my God.
Can I borrow $100?
No.
And by him being my idol, so I gave him the money, and he went over and gave the money to a drug dealer because he owed the guy some money.
Oh.
He was real big into cocaine. He was real big into coke.
Yeah.
And man, and I never forget
He
that.
was already
Yeah,
before he went to WWE.
because
And then when he made the big,
this is a funny part, and you can research this. When he was in
what's that?
Mid South, every cocaine dealer in New Orleans knew about JYD. They all know he was a cokehead. You
Cocaine.
know, and I
Cocaine.
mean, and I just wanted, just talk to you, man. Because like I said, I don't want to take up all your time because I gotta go eat dinner. I cook some shrimp, crawfish, egg touffee. You know, and
Ah,
man, I want you to know, man. I mean, it's from my heart, man. Man, I love you. You my brother. You know what I'm saying? Man, I miss you. I miss talking to you. I miss being around you. And man, I'm not sure to tell no man, hey, my brother, you're my brother. And man, I
right,
always think of the great times that we had together. And like I told you a long time ago
right.
when I met you, hey man, I'm Randy. I'm not famous. you know, I'm not. I'm just Randy.
Yeah.
You know, and man, I want to thank you so much, man. And man, you know what? If I'm talking to some people right now about doing a podcast to do the get your Swoll on again. And man, and
Okay.
if we do it, man, I want to team up with you, just like we're doing right now.
Okay.
And you
Okay.
get paid and everything, But like I told the people, if I don't have no endorsements, I'm not doing the deal. I want endorsements. You know, I,
I
I
understand.
won't make money like everybody else. But if I can get some endorsements
Hey,
or some something like that, maybe something we could do. But I'm gonna work on it, man. But look, it's getting dark out here. I'm at the house in the yard, and
well, we got a lot more conversations coming down the line, man. And I'm a wrestling head. I can talk wrestling till the sun come up. You know
I
me.
know
That's my love. But to talk to someone who was inside behind the business and knew different various things, man, and that was on a podcast, that's a
we
dream.
gonna
To do it with you,
let me work on it.
oh
Let me
shit.
work on it. We'll make it happen.
You know how to find me, boss. You know where to find me
All
at.
right, my brother. Look, you have a good night.